Well, folks, just when you thought it wasn't going to get any more intense, the Australian Open has provided yet another five-set epic marathon. So we saw Fetter just beat Millman the other night, and then last night we watched Kyrgios and Khachanov absolutely go to battle with Kyrgios, the hometown, home country hero, coming out on top. We're going to break down that match, look at what happened, and we're going to look into what I like to call the fourth round frenzy. Where the fourth round, things really start to get turned up. We got a lot of good matchups, and we're going to look at all of them on this episode of The Slice.
Welcome to The Slice.
Welcome to the slice.
Welcome to the slice.
Well, folks, thanks again for being here and tuning in. Wow, this Australian Open, watching it every day and making videos every day is making me so much more engaged in the tournament, and I am so stoked on what we've been seeing. I'm still recovering from Fetter versus Millman, and that's Fetter's playing Fuchs Ovitch tonight. I think that's just how I'm going to go with saying it, Fuchs Ovitch. No one has critiqued me yet, no Hungarians. There's any Hungarian fans watching the slice? Let me know how you're supposed to say it. I'm actually part Hungarian, if you didn't know that. I didn't even know that, but then my mom told me that the other day, and I was like, dang, maybe I should try for more Tom Fuchs Ovitch. But I'm not going to when he's playing my man Fed. So that's coming up. But last night, what happened? Kyrgios and Khachanov. First things first, follow us on Instagram. We got to get over 1,000 followers. That's our goal. We're like 100 away right now. And if you can do that, you're going to help our friend Beckett Chung, who helps us out with the slice, get paid more. So help Beckett out and subscribe to the slice on Instagram or follow us on Instagram. And also subscribe if you haven't. And thanks for being here. Khachanov, Kyrgios last night. Just absolutely epic mental battle, especially after Kyrgios went up the first two sets, won them, and it looked like, he might win this one in 3 and then come into Nadal just full of energy. But then he lost the next 2, and you can kind of see how this would have gone maybe in the past, maybe other times. He said he was starting to lose it and get mentally frustrated, obviously, after being up two sets to love and then losing 2 tiebreakers in a row to Khachanov. I think he had match points in the 3rd and 4th sets. So then it comes down to the 5th set, and Kyrgios just pulls it off, wins, collapses to the ground. It's epic. Everyone's stoked. This was like a classic Kyrgios match. There was everything. There was amazing shot making, drops, volleys, drop shots galore. Anger, yelling at his box, getting mad at the ref because he had cut his hand and he didn't want to get the blood on the ball kid, so he's took some extra time violation. Some of these refs are just out of their whack. You gotta think, use some discretion in these matches, and just just because there's a rule doesn't mean you have to implement it at every single moment, especially when something random like a bleeding player is happening. He could have called a timeout like a lot of players would have done, but he didn't. He tried to just handle it and move on. But the ref got involved. They just like to insert themselves into the match sometime. But anyways, Kyrgios wavered all that like a true champ and got through the match. And now he comes in to Nadal. So Nadal won last night, looked amazing versus Pablo Carreno Busta, who put up zero effort, or not zero effort, but zero fight. I was almost why did he even show up? Before that, I was this is going to be a good test of Nadal's level. And I think it was, because Nadal was hitting it very flat and very hard, and it was during the day, so the ball travels a bit faster through the court or through the air. But Pablo Carreno Busta really didn't do anything. So I think it is a good sign that Nadal is playing, he's serving well still, and he's playing everything good, but it's going to be a different cat when he plays a guy like Kyrgios, especially with the serve difference. But that being said, is Kyrgios going to be able to recover in time for that match? And so when it comes to their matchup, I think that there's obviously history there. I don't think either of these guys like each other. Kyrgios and Nadal at Wimbledon, they settled some beef with Nadal beating him, and it was a tough match. Kyrgios trying to pin him at the net. So there's I know that these guys don't like each other. They're not going to say it outright. Well, Kyrgios probably already did, but I don't think Nadal will, because he's a classy champion. But there's dislike, and so there's going to be some heat in this, and it's going to be exciting. The matchup, the head-to-head is 4-3 right now in favor of Rafa. And I think if Nick isn't focused at the start of this match, he could go down early and just mentally unwind, and it could be a 3-setter for Rafa. But if it gets close, I almost give Nick the advantage in that. He's in their tiebreak history. Nick is up 5-2, and I just think with the crowd, I think the crowd will, again, with Millman and Raf and Nadal or Fetter, it was hard to tell which side the fans were on. I think the fans were actually on Federer's side, and with Rafa and Nick, it's going to be up in the air again. But I think there's a lot of Rafa fans, obviously, because he's a hero around the world. but this is also Australia, and this is where Kyrgios has been playing like a beast, fending for the country. If you haven't read the article yet, is Kyrgios a hero or a villain? Check it out on theslicetennis.com, link below. So I'm very excited to see this match. I'm going to be staying up for it. I'm just hoping it's a day match. If it's a day session, it's like earlier. It's not so crazy. Like if it's a night session, it's literally like starts at like 2 a.m. our time and goes to like 6. And then I have to work the next day. I don't know how that's supposed to work. So we'll talk about that at the end. But what's happening in the fourth round? So Kyrgios and Nadal are playing the fourth round. We just talked about that. It's going to be epic. If I had to pick who I thought was going to win, I'd probably say Nadal. But if it gets close, I'm almost leaning Kyrgios. Then we got Gael Monfils, who's been quietly playing really well, versus Thiem, who had to pull out a 5-setter. But Thiem's also looking good, and I like him to go deeper in this. So that's going to be a tough one. I can't really decide who I think is going to win that. If I have to lean one way, I'm going to lean Thiem, just because he's younger, he's got more pop, and I think he's going to start finding his rhythm. These are slower Australian Open courts, so that's going to help Thiem for sure. And then we have Medvedev versus Rublev, a U.S. Open rematch where Medvedev came out on top. I'm expecting him to come out on top again. I think he's just too hard to beat for Wawrinka. He keeps too many balls in and doesn't get rattled, and with his length, he can reach any of Wawrinka's power and use it against him. That's why I like Medvedev in that matchup. And then we have Rublev versus Zverev, and I'm definitely going with Rublev in this match. He looks absolutely dangerous. Just took out Goffin pretty convincingly, coming down from a set down. And he hasn't lost a match since Paris. He's on like a 16-match winning streak or something like that. So he's one guy who I left out of my top 10 players of the future like an idiot. And I would definitely put him in now after being reminded again how good he is and how much brightness he has, kind of like how much game he's got. Like he's just aggressive, like his forehand and backhand. He hits the ball with so much pace and doesn't miss. It's crazy. So that's the top half. And then tonight we have, that was the day 6 recap. And day 7 tonight, first matches of the fourth round, we have Tennis Sandgren and Fabio Fognini. Really interesting matchup there in the fourth round with Sandgren playing well and Fognini also playing well. Sandgren doing well to get this deep, playing some tough characters. I forget exactly who he played before this, but they're both looking good because I saw Sandgren's match and he's looking extremely good. So I don't know who to pick, but I could see Sandgren coming through that. I could also see Fognini winning it. And we have Fuchs Ovitch versus Fetter. And I'm leaning Fetter for sure because I know he's going to be tired after this 5-setter. But if we remember the last time 2 times ago when he won the Australian Open in 2017, Fetter had to play 3 5-setters, including the final. 3 or 4. I think 3. And they're all against top 10 players. So he can do it. It's not the end of the world. And he did it against Nishikori and then Wawrinka and then Nadal. And he can still do it, obviously. So he'll be fine against Fuchs Ovitch, and there's no reason he should lose that match, I don't think, unless he doesn't play his best, unless he's not aggressive. I don't think he's aggressive enough against Millman, but Millman is a great counterpuncher. And last time Federer and Fuchs Ovitch played in the fourth round, 2017 Australian Open, and Federer won it. So that's a good omen for Fed and for Fed fans. And then he's got either Sandgren or Fognini next. So that is honestly, and I know Nadal and Djokovic fans are pissed now that Federer has the easiest quarter. It is the easiest quarter. So he could have a very smooth route to the semifinals, but that's not overlooking any of these guys because they're all great tennis players. And then we have Raonic versus Cilic. Raonic took out Tsitsipas, who I didn't really talk about. That was a great match because Tsitsipas wasn't exactly looking like garbage. Raonic just played really well, moving well, serving great as he always does. So I'm going with Raonic in that matchup because Cilic has played 2 5-setters in a row, and the old dog is probably getting tired. And then we got Djokovic versus Schwartzman. Djokovic looked amazing on his serve. He's really peaking with that right now. And Schwartzman is definitely going to be the toughest player he's played so far. Definitely the toughest player. Schwartzman hasn't dropped a set yet, and he's looking good. But it's not a great serve matchup for him. I think with Djokovic serving the way that he is, Deo Schwartzman's not really the best returner, and he can definitely get broken a lot, especially by the arguably greatest returner in the history of the game, Djokovic. So I think Djokovic will be able to hold his serve pretty easily, and if he doesn't, he'll be able to break back super easily. So I'm leaning Djokovic for sure in that match. So there's the fourth round matchups in the fourth round frenzy, as I like to call it. They're going to be super interesting. It's the weekend now. I'm staying up all night to watch the matches tonight. So let's get into it. Give me your predictions. And if you're wanting me to watch more matches, like during the week, I can't stay up all night because I have to work at 6 a.m. So if you want to help me take less time during the majors or more time off of work during the majors, support us on Patreon and I can actually do that. The link is below. Even if you're not going to watch the shows, it's $4 a month, and it really helps us out. And if you want to get this shirt for free, the Aussie Open tee, which some of you now have for free, you can sign up to be a premium supporter on Patreon and get it sent to you for free. I love you guys. Thank you so much for the support, and let's get into it. These matches are going to be hot fire this weekend. I can't wait.